Hello, good morning everyone. Today I am here to discuss about phylum Coelenterata. Now phylum Coelenterata is also known as Cnidaria. So let's move towards the introduction part. Due to the presence of cnidocytes, this phylum is also called as Cnidaria. And here the organisms belonging to this phylum has the presence of sting cells. And because of the presence of the sting cells, the organisms belonging to phylum Coelenterata are also called as stinging animals. So if you get the question why the organisms belonging to phylum Coelenterata are also known as stinging animals, in that case you have to tell, since in these organisms there is a presence of sting cells, because of this the animals belonging to the phylum Coelenterata or Cnidaria are also known as stinging animals. Next is habitat. Now most of the animals belonging to the phylum Coelenterata are aquatic, and majority of them are living in the fresh water, and very few species are there which lives in freshwater habitat. For example, Hydra, it lives in the fresh water. Now after habitat we will discuss about habit. Now most of the organisms here are free living and they show dimorphism. That is, here we have the presence of two body forms and they are also called as dimorphic animals, and the two body forms which are present here are Polyp and Medusa. So now let's talk about Polyp and Medusa. See, Polyp form from Medusa through asexual reproduction. जब आपका Polyp asexually reproduce करेगा, वो क्या बनाएगा? Medusa. In similar way, जो Medusa है, अगर वो sexually reproduce करता है, तो वो बनाएगा Polyp. I am repeating it again. If Polyp reproduces through asexual reproduction, it will form the Medusa, and if Medusa reproduces sexually, it will form the Polyp. See, here we have two different forms which are showing its presence through the different modes of reproduction. Therefore, we say that the organisms belonging to the phylum Coelenterata, they show the alteration of generation. Now, what is alteration of generation? So, if in a species Polyp and Medusa both are present, it means that particular species is showing the alternation of generation, and alteration of generation is also known by one other name, that is metagenesis. So what is metagenesis? Metagenesis is a phenomenon where a particular species shows the formation of both Polyp and Medusa, and this metagenesis is also known as alteration of generation. So here you can see that when Polyp reproduce asexually, it will form Medusa, and Medusa when reproduce sexually, it will form the Polyp. Now here the examples of the organisms that show the alteration of generation is Obelia and Physalia. Next is the difference between Polyp and Medusa. So we will first discuss about Polyp. Now polyps are cylindrical in shape. Their mouth and tentacles are directed upward, and most of the polyps live in colonial combination, and very few polyps are there which live a solitary life. After that, most of the animals here are sessile, and very few species are here which are motile, and your polyp is formed by the asexual reproduction. Example of polyps are Hydra and Admesia. Next comes the Medusa. Now Medusa is umbrella shaped, and here mouth and tentacles are directed upward, and Medusa always lives a solitary life, whereas Polyp always lives in a colonial form. So Medusa जो है आपका किस form में होगा? It will always in a solitary form. Next जो Medusa है, it is motile. Motile means it shows movement. Medusa is free swimming form. After that, Medusa is formed by the asexual reproduction. I am repeating it again. Medusa is formed by sexual reproduction. The examples of Medusa are Orilla, jellyfish or moon jelly. Now next हम लोग करेंगे level of organization. तो level of organization, you have the different levels of organization: cellular level, tissue level, organ system levels. So here if I'll talk about Coelenterata, it is not a well organized, it is not well developed phylum. So here we see the tissue level of organization. So the level of organization here is tissue level. Next is symmetry. All the animals belonging to phylum Coelenterata show radial symmetry and germinal layer. Now these are diploblastic, means two germ layers are present here, that is ectoderm and endoderm, and in between layer there is a presence of the mesogalia. So the germinal layer, if I'll talk about the germinal layers, here two germinal layers are present, therefore they are diploblastic, and the two germinal layers or the two germ layers that are present here are ectoderm and endoderm. Next comes the interstitial cells. Now as I told you that these are diploblastic, and here we have the presence of the interstitial cells, that is in between both the layers. In between ectoderm and endoderm there is a presence of one more layer, that is mesengolia, and these mesengolian cells are have a power of division and they are totipotent in nature. Next is body symmetry. Now if you see this diagram, here you see that in most of the organisms belonging to phylum Coelenterata we have mouth, okay, and we call mouth as a hypostome. After that there is a presence of the tentacles, and here we have the presence of two layers, that is ectoderm and endoderm, and here in between we have the cavity which is also called as coelentron cavity or gastrovascular cavity, and in between the tentacles we have a presence of sting cells. I am repeating its organization again. In here we have the mouth region which is also called as hypostome, and here we have the presence of tentacles. In tentacles sting cells are present, and due to the presence of sting cells these organisms are also called as stinging animals. Here we have two germ layers, they are diploblastic, and the two germinal layers that are present in organisms is ectoderm and endoderm, and here we have the coelentron or gastrovascular cavity. Next comes the functions. Now what is the function of nematocyst? Nematocyst का क्या function रहेगा? First is anchorage, that is helps the organism to attach to the substratum. After that offense, as I told you, in the tentacle region there is a presence of the sting cells, therefore they help in defense and also help to attack the prey. After that, okay, next is prostomium. It is absent. Body plan, it consists of blind sac. Next is segmentation. There is no segmentation, therefore segmentation is absent. Notochord is again absent. Digestion is intracellular and extracellular, that is it shows both the systems of the digestion. That is intracellular digestion is also here and extracellular digestion is also here. Circulation is absent. Next is respiration. Respiration is through germinal body surface following the principle of diffusion, that is the waste or the things always move from high to low concentration. So respiration is again through germinal body surface by the process of diffusion. In similar way, if I'll talk about excretion, excretion is again through the germinal body surface, and here the excretory product is ammonia. Therefore, most of the organisms belonging to phylum Coelenterata are ammonotelic. So I'm repeating it again, excretory product here is ammonia. Therefore, most of the organisms belonging to this phylum are ammonotelic. Next is skeleton. Now here exoskeleton is present, and the exoskeleton is made up of calcium carbonate, and it is also called as corals. Now various examples of the corals are Madrina, coral island, coral reef. These are the examples. Next is locomotion. Here the locomotion is through the tentacles which are present on the body surface. Nervous system is a diffused type with non-polar body. Now non-polar body means it consists of axon, means it only consists of the central part. Axons and dendrites both are absent here. So nervous system is diffused with, and it is non-polar. Or if someone asks you what type of neuron is present in the nervous system of coelentrates, in that case you have to tell the type of neuron present in coelentrates is non-polar, means here in neuron axon and dendrites are absent. Next is reproduction. As I told you that it shows the alteration of generation, therefore it reproduces both by sexual method as well as asexual method. Now in coelentrates, asexual reproduction is simply by budding, whereas sexual reproduction is by the different forms, as most of the coelentrates are bisexual or hermaphrodite, and they may be the monoecious. So sexual reproduction again, if I'll talk about the sexual reproduction, most of the coelentrates are protoandrous. Now question arises, what is protoandrous? Protoandrous is that state in which male reproductive system matures before the female reproductive system. As I told you that most of the coelentrates are hermaphrodite, means male and female organs, they are present in one single organism. So what happens that male reproductive system matures first and then the female reproductive system matures. So it means there is a formation of sperm, after that there is a formation of ovum. So sperms are transferred before ovum. So they most of the coelentrates are protoandrous animals in which male reproductive system mature first, followed by the female reproductive system. Now next is type of fertilization. They show cross and external fertilization, and here indirect development is present with the larval stage. Now here we have the different examples of the different organisms belonging to phylum Coelenterata like Physalia, Admesia, sea fan, brain coral. These are the different examples of it. I hope you understand this topic.